Item Number: SCP-6261. Object Class: Neutralized. Special Containment Procedures: the original development kit containing SCP-6261-1 is kept in low-value storage at Site-106. Personnel are encouraged to interact with it to further familiarize themselves with video games, as several other anomalies related to Arcadia are beginning to surface, and Foundation personnel typically have low proficiency with interactive entertainment. SCP-6261-2 is in high-value document storage at Site-106. Efforts are being made to decipher any and all thaumic rights in the art and text of SCP-6261-2. Products or byproducts of these rights are to be immediately placed in high-value containment and inspected by sourcing and containment. Description: SCP-6261 refers to 2 items acquired by the Foundation in 1984, during several strategic purchases of assets from the collapsing corporate group of interest Arcadia. All items related to the now-cancelled franchise known as Mage Quest. SCP-6261-1 refers to a piece of software on an Atari 2600 development kit, entitled Mage Quest: Prison of Circe. SCP-6261-1 is an adventure video game, in which a digital representation of the individual playing the game, or player character, is guided around the island of Iea, with the goal of finding and terminating an entity, non-player character, representing the mythological Circe. This non-player character entity is believed to possess some form of awareness, as it is actively hostile to the player character, attempting to terminate it using various obstacles, traps, or hostile entities, monsters, throughout Iea. An instruction manual indicates that, in order to complete SCP-6261-1, the player needs to gather 10 mythological treasures from across Iea, before proceeding to a lake in the center of the island and encountering Circe herself. However, being struck 3 times by monsters, including centaurs, harpies, a kraken, and a wild boar, will result in a game over state, in which the player character is transformed into a pig. The game over screen for SCP-6261-1 is a mild cognitohazard, and exposure to it will result in individuals displaying behavior such as squealing, attempting quadrupedal locomotion, and attempting to ingest non-edible material. These behaviors cease after 30 to 90 minutes. To date, no member of Foundation personnel has completed SCP-6261-1. Several supplementary materials to SCP-6261-1 exist. Primary among these is a comic book, designated SCP-6261-2. SCP-6261-2 retells the portion of Homer's Odyssey, in which Odysseus and his crew are stranded on Aea, ending on a cliffhanger, as Circe challenges the reader to stop her plans to cook and eat Odysseus' crewmen who have been transfigured into pigs. The instruction manual for SCP-6261-1 indicates that it is intended to interact with SCP-6261-2. During the course of gameplay, numbers will appear corresponding to pages of SCP-6261-2, as well as specific panels on said pages, featuring hidden words revealing part of a secret message. In reality, SCP-6261-2 is an anomalous manuscript containing several thaumaturgical rights. Transcribing or reading aloud the words SCP-6261-1 points to, in the correct order, triggers one of the rights. Individual words, or words in an incorrect order, produce no effect. Addendum: the Mage Quest Contest. Recovered marketing materials related to the Mage Quest franchise indicate that SCP-6261-1 was meant to be the jumping-off point for a contest backed by Arcadia. Dubbed the Mage Quest Artifacts of Power Contest, participants would have to play the 4 planned games in the franchise, and uncover mystical secrets to win fabulous treasures, using hidden clues in both the game and included comic book. Among these planned treasures were a 24-karat silver amulet, an 18-karat golden orb, a white jade necklace, and a ring with the winner's birthstone set as the jewel. It is currently believed that Arcadia possessed access to a thaumaturgical volume, which was adapted into SCP-6261-2, and SCP-6261-1 was created to attempt to divine a specific right from SCP-6261-2, which Arcadia could not locate in the original volume. In essence, the Artifacts of Power contest was intended to use the Arcadia customer base to locate the desired right, as several thousand people playing SCP-6261-1 and activating all available rights would be more efficient than attempting each right individually. Test log. Since acquisition, personnel from the Department of Procurement and Liquidation have attempted to win at SCP-6261-1. The following is a log of notable attempts. Operator: Agent Marcus Fume. Description of playthrough. Game begins as normal, on the western shore of Aia. Fume acquires 3 of the 10 treasures and notes down words from SCP-6261-2 as they appear. Upon completion of a 7-word sentence, the paper which Fume is taking notes on becomes charged with electricity and causes a power failure throughout Site-106, deactivating SCP-6261-1 in the process. SCP-6261-1 was unresponsive to Fume's inputs following reactivation. Operator: Agent Renee Walker. Description of playthrough. Game proceeds as normal until Walker enters the Tartarus area to acquire the 4th treasure. The numbers 7 and 4 are visible at the top of the screen, indicating page 7, panel 4 of SCP-6261-2. The word communicate is hidden in this panel. Walker, a telepath, attempts to establish psychic connection with SCP-6261-1. He reports receiving the image of a flower in the genus Asphodelus, but no meaningful communication beyond this. It is speculated that SCP-6261-1 is, or contains, a sentient being. Tartarus and the treasure within is guarded by Cerberus. Walker fails to pass Cerberus and reaches the game over screen. Upon viewing it, Walker displays anomalous behavior for 62 minutes. Operator: Agent Cynthia Shuley. Description of playthrough. Shuley attempts to walk into the ocean on the western shore of Aia and finds it passable, unlike all other water in the game. Walking to the west reveals 1 of the 10 treasures, as well as the numbers 10 and 3. The word in this panel is assist. Shuley notes down a 3-word sentence originating from SCP-6261-2, which causes the colors of the map to invert. Some of these colors are not supported by the Atari 2600's color processor. This inevitably caused the game to be more difficult to navigate. However, the issue was resolved upon resetting the console using the switches. This, however, also reset all of Shuley's progress. As with previous tests, Shuley reaches the game over screen in Tartarus, upon failing to pass Cerberus. Anomalous behavior displayed for 39 minutes, with a minor pyrokinetic episode as Shuley's control over her abilities was temporarily interrupted by the cognito hazard. Operator: Agent Marcus Fume. Description of playthrough. Gameplay starts as normal. After collecting the 3rd treasure, Fume attempts to toggle several switches on the Atari console, citing that his son has done the same in the course of his gameplay. Doing so produces a series of numbers that corresponded to the words amulet, never, locate, and assist in SCP-6261-2. These did not trigger a thaumic reaction. Fume manages to collect 2 treasures, but is again thwarted by Cerberus. Anomalous behavior was displayed for 60 minutes. Operator: Agent Cynthia Shuley. Description of playthrough. Before collecting any treasures, Agent Shuley uses the thaumic rite which caused the inverted colors on the previous playthrough, and attempts to play the game as normal. However, only 1 treasure appears. None of the others are present. A combination of numbers corresponding to the words laughter and foolishness appear on every screen, alternating. P&L personnel soon realized that no meaningful progress was being made with SCP-6261. Said personnel had minimal knowledge of video games, with the most experience belonging to Agent Shuley, whose father helped sell pawn cabinets prior to her recruitment to the Foundation. As such, alternatives were sought out. Senior Agent Hubert Rauter suggested that, due to the relatively harmless nature of the anomaly, civilians who regularly played video games should be temporarily recruited by the Foundation. An advertisement for video game testers was placed in the Miami Herald. After 2 months, there were only 3 responses. Public opinion towards video games had turned in recent years, following a glut of low-quality software on the market. and plummeting profits in major video game companies, particularly Atari. Of the 3 respondents, 2 were able to collect 7 of the 10 treasures. The final respondent, however, showed much greater proficiency with SCP-6261-1. What follows is their intake interview. Intake interview 6261-3. Interviewer: Agent Router. Subjects: Digby Du Bois, subject, and Marianne Du Bois, subject's mother.
Now, what's your name, young man?
I'm Diggy Du Bois. Digby. He has a bit of a speech issue.
And how old are you, Digby?
7.
What's your favorite video game?
I like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Mario Bros. And Miss Pac-Man and Adventure. And he spends $20 at the arcade every weekend. He's so proud of all the high scores he has. He kept tugging on my arm to come here. Said that it gave him a feeling.
What kind of feeling?
Smell. Like Pac-Man. Smells electric.
Sorry, a smell?
Digby. The doctor thinks he has synesthesia. That's a thing where senses get cross-wired, like how some people can hear colors. He says when he touches things, he can sometimes smell stuff. He says my coat smells like wildflowers.
Interesting.
Agent Router produced some non-anomalous marketing materials related to Arcadia from a folder on the table. Neither item features labels or logos that would indicate a connection to Arcadia.
Digby, can I ask you to touch these and tell me what you smell?
The subject reaches out to grab the first item.
Smells like smoke and old people.
Old people?
Old people smell. My great-grandpa's home smells like that.
And the other one?
The subject touches the other item.
It smells the same. I've never had that happen before. How'd you do it, mister?
Alright. Mr. Boyce, if you're willing, we're gonna have Digby play an unreleased game for us.
Just like that? But you've not even seen...
Yeah, he's perfect for the job. Trust me.
Router, a psychometrist, hypothesized that Diggy Du Bois possessed similar abilities. Du Bois was allowed to play through SCP-6261-1. An account of the playthrough is described below. Operator: Digby Du Bois. Description of playthrough. Within a 10-minute time span, Du Bois collected the first 9 treasures, but when faced with Tartarus and Cerberus, rather than trying to pass through directly, Du Bois pressed the fire button on the controller. This causes the player character to shoot a projectile which destroys Cerberus. This feature is not documented in the manual, and it was assumed the fire button was non-functional. Following the collection of the 10th treasure, Du Bois proceeds to the lake in the center of the island. A feminine figure emerges from the water, and a series of numbers corresponding to a 20-word long sentence appears on the screen. Du Bois is asked to write it out. Upon completion of the sentence, the paper it was transcribed on transforms into a silver amulet. Before it could be collected by Router, who was observing, Du Bois grabbed the amulet, held it to his ear, before speaking to it softly. This action caused a powerful release of thaumic energy that, according to Du Bois, granted his wish, which was for video games to be good again. The amulet is now thaumically inert. It is speculated that obtaining it was Arcadia's original goal when creating SCP-6261. Since this event, SCP-6261-1 has been completed several times. However, the feminine figure has not reappeared, and SCP-6261-2 has failed to produce any new thaumic effects. Therefore, the Foundation considers SCP-6261 effectively neutralized. Due to concerns regarding the effects of amnestics on children under 8 years old, none were administered to Du Bois. However, he has been marked as a potential recruit for P&L in the future, should it be proven that he does possess psychometric capabilities. Shortly after Du Bois' use of the amulet, a Japanese toy company announced its plans to bring an entertainment system to the Western market, capable of playing video games. The events are believed to be related. but the success of this product, given the current state of the video game market, is unlikely. Thank you all for watching, and a special thanks to all my patrons. If you want to help support this channel, go ahead and visit my Patreon for early access to videos, skip recommendations, and other Patreon benefits.